welcome. It's SVPod with Stanford Steve, and right on cue. There's Red. There goes Red. Red, the red reindeer. It's Christmas Eve.
It is.
What are we doing? Why are we here? Well, for you, little content. Maybe you're wrapping prezzies. Throw on some earbuds. Wrap them up. I can tell you what's going on inside our house right now.
Oh, boy.
Stanford Steve off on his Christmas Eve tradition, delivering cookies with the girls.
Yes, sir.
They just went to the salon yesterday. We've got...
I didn't go to the salon.
Well, we were in Green Bay.
Correct.
Got the little red and green nails. His daughters are just darling, 3 of them. Wifey has taken my daughter, who I'm sure was the bait to get your daughters to be willing to come inside the house. She's off with an activity with mom. My 2 sons are there. Your girls walk in. Where's Lila? Nowhere to be found. As we speak, inside the house, my 2 young kids, Steve's 3 girls. The last thing my youngest son says to me is, "Can we play the Xbox? You have guests. Could you not fire up Madden?" So this is not going to be one where we ramble forever.
Maybe somebody has to leave in between intermission, check on there's no bodies.
It could be a 30-second, make it a full. But it's Christmas Eve. It's a special time. Steve making his special rounds. We're going to carve out a bit of time to discuss what we do every week.
Yep.
We have to begin with a very important question. It's going to determine the direction the rest of this conversation goes. It is the holiday season. It is Christmas Eve. I don't want to fight you, but I will. The answer to this question had better be correct. Are the Chicago Bears in Pooptown?
I've been threatened all week, and yes, they are.
It's the holiday season. They stink.
Bad.
Okay, fine. We can carry on. We'll get to that later. I don't want to start this off with a lump of coal, but, you know, the truth's the truth. We were in Green Bay, Wisconsin on Monday.
Yeah.
I told you how good Lambeau was. You're a venue guy all season. How many times did you hear Steve say, "I can't wait to get here, to get there, to get to Austin, to get to this place, to get to that place"? And so many times you described these venues and these atmospheres as being incredible. This was the first time in Lambeau. What do you got?
Our good friend Steve Sands told a story about his dad at his service when he passed away, about when Steve met Sandy Koufax.
Never meet your heroes.
Never meet your heroes.
Yeah.
And so a little bit of me, like, I was the biggest Brett Favre person there was in the world. Like, playing in high school, changed my number to 4, like, ride and died with the Packers. Like, that was it. My dad had some old friends of a friends that were part of the Jerry Kramer teams and all that. And so it was always there, but I never got to go see it. And then, you know, NFL, I got caught in the player thing. But the Packers were my team growing up, and to finally see it, I was absolutely blown away. Because Jimmy, our great driver he picks me up from the airport, and I'm like, "You been here?" He's a former cop in New York. He's like, "Yeah, I've been here. A couple of the guys from the department, we came out and, met up with a couple of the guys on the patrol here a couple years ago, Giants, you know." He's like, "It was freezing." He's like, "There ain't shit here. Like, nothing. I saw a Target, a Hardee's."
When we were leaving, I saw a little, not full-on strip mall, mini strip mall where there was an axe throwing.
Yeah. And then it's just houses, snow everywhere. When you're flying in, Lambeau pops like nothing else out of the snow.
It is literal frozen tundra flying in.
And neighborhoods, houses, nothing crazy, little ranch houses, and then it's Lambeau. And then it's everything around it. The houses, stayed at the Lodge Kohler, unbelievable. They had a restaurant on the 5th floor, all picturesque windows. You're just staring at Lambeau. Like, That's all they have. And to see how genuine it was really affirmed how great I thought it would be. You see how people take care of the field, how little the tunnel is. Those people working their asses off with the weather. They tarp the field. I mean, all their, we go to the stadium. I go out there for the bet show at 4 o'clock, usually Eastern, and the field's set up, good to go. Heated benches are out there, the blowers, guys are doing the comms on the helmets, everything. Not at Lambeau. They wait to the last second. They don't want to, it's like, we go to the Rose Bowl, and for game day, we'll be there next week. You don't go on the grass. Like, we are as up against the corner in the end zone, and you're looking at it the whole time, but you are not allowed on that thing. And Lambeau was the same way. And then the stadium, I just kept thinking about before they put in all the renovations, it was just the bowl.
That's it.
There was none of those, suites up top. The Ring of Honor was like way down. The Jumbotrons are enormous, and they're super high up. And I just kept thinking about, like, I grew up down the street from the Yale Bowl. Back in the day, it was Yale Bowl, the Rose Bowl, Michigan. All those are the same exact design.
Right.
And Lambeau is the same way,
right.
And now they've just stacked on top of it. So just to see that and be on the bottom, but to see it all, I mean, go Pack, go. It's a hell of a lot better than OHIO, and they say it is just as many times. I stopped counting. Let's see. You guys went on the air at what, 5 local?
Something like that.
So they opened the gates at 5:15. By 5:30, 5:29, 5:30 at the end of your first segment, I had lost count of 26 Santa Clauses coming in. And then there was a lot of Grinches, but
the Ramin one.
All I kept saying is, I kept asking Cap, I'm like, is there any way we could get back here for a playoff game? Like, it's that good, man. The ultimate, and we've talked about it, NFL, the NFL population, the NFL, I don't even know how to say it. The people that go to NFL games are not our favorite.
Mutants.
That's all they have. You hear about the lineage of how tickets are handed down and who gets in. And
not in Green Bay. I think it's different.
It's unbelievable.
I think just everything Steve is saying is from seeing it through the first time. I was seeing it again. It's that good. It's that good. And Buffalo is somewhat similar in the fact that it's definitely neighborhood-ish.
But you're driving a little bit when you see the stadium.
And the parking lot is a hell of a lot bigger.
Yeah.
There are literal houses, little ranch-style houses, side by side, or you might say side by each, right next to the stadium on all sides. In some ways, like the Rose Bowl, people that are familiar with Pasadena, you're driving through a neighborhood, but that's different as well because the footprint of it is larger. This stadium just exists in the middle of this, decades-old Midwestern, middle-of-nowhere town in upper Wisconsin.
And then to hear how new everything is, like the people built, like 2008.
Oh, yeah.
Was that's not that long. I mean, I know there's younger people out there than us, but 16 years is not that much when you think about the Green Bay Packers. And then you look at their Ring of Honor. I mean, there is nothing from the Bart Starr teams until Brett Favre. Nothing. Ron Wolf comes in 91, and they go on a run of playoffs until Favre's done. Until in 07, Rodgers takes over, gets the early Super Bowl. There's that window. But, boy, do they have a window right now, and that team and that fan base is super fired up.
Yep. It's standing on the field. I'm struck by how it feels huge.
Yeah.
I'm talking like Coliseum-ish. It's just on the back sides of it. It's intimidating as hell because they built these gorgeous brand-new suites that go up in all directions that surround. It's really interesting. It's this modern thing which surrounds a kind of like almost like an ancient, by NFL standards, footprint. Reminds me a lot, maybe this will make sense to you, of what they did at Fog Allen, where they kept what was great about what was old and then made the best of what is modern and new.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't sacrifice the old for the new. And we both think they're a really good team, like Super Bowl team potential. We'll get to that. But just the day, you might have seen Steve and I in the elf outfits with Jason Kelce. It was a blast. And it just requires a little bit of, do you want to do it? And it's a late Sunday night show. Get up early. Hey, you want to fly to Green Bay and throw on an elf outfit and walk around a neighborhood? Do I want to? But then was I glad I did? Was it just a blast? We're walking around. It's the perfect amount of snow. And the folks up there couldn't possibly be nicer or happier that you've come.
The accent's unreal.
They couldn't be happier.
Their O's show. They kept saying that. When's the halftime show? Like, I can't even do it.
It's fine.
Like it's just halftime, by the way.
When after
second quarter's over,
30 minutes. And you understand how that works? But the one house we went to, the first house we went to, incredible people.
I could have stayed there all day.
They had high-end brats, suds, game of bags out back. It was good. They were look, everybody we met was nice. It's the cliche of Midwestern hospitality. Couldn't have been nicer. And that fan base, and I just want to say this, I don't want to miss it at some point, just like Christmas and gratitude. And you experience this with game day all the time. Although sometimes college fan bases can get a little hostile as a group.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to adequately say thanks for the amount of love you get when you go places.
Yes.
People are so incredibly kind and fired up that you're there. And I've always had a love affair with Wisconsin, going back to my guy, Andy North. He and Sue were there yesterday. It was wonderful just to see my man and give him a hug. But going back to the days years and years and years ago where I went to Madison and ended up speaking at Wisconsin's graduation just because I was like, this place is insane. I couldn't believe how amazing it was. I've always had this great thing with that state. And that's the first time I'd been there to cover a game. And I just, to the people up there who beyond kind and welcoming, I appreciate that. We appreciate that. It's amazing. You know, we get out of there last night and it's just like, my God, the stuff we get to do. And I know you've been away for a while and it's awesome for you to get back home and your kids are hopefully doing okay in the house as we speak, but it had to be great to get home to them.
Shout out Paul Singletary.
Paul Singletary. How do we describe Paul Singletary?
I was hoping you were going to do it because you could do the imitation as good as there was.
We're in the street. Jason Kelce's wearing a Santa Claus outfit. Steve and I are wearing elf outfits, as you do. A guy drives by in like a
neon.
I thought it was like
You said it. You called it.
Seemed like a Malibu.
Yeah, a little Malibu.
Could have been.
Windows down.
Maybe don't.
Smoking a butt.
Maybe it don't work. Hard to say. But had a really, really aggressive mid-'80s mullet.
Oof.
It's snowing. He's wearing a short sleeve shirt. Might have been a Le Tigre. I don't know that for sure. I'm in the back of a car. We're filming a bit. I'm in an elf outfit. This guy drives by and he's like, whoa!
His eyes popped out of his head when he saw Jason.
I was hoping I might see you. Like this guy's cruising the neighborhood in his Malibu, smoking a Camel on the off chance he'll see Kelce, and he does. And he gets out of the car and he's like, I had these made for you. Or I missed he's got mittens.
And a hat, and he just chucks them in Kelce's window.
For his girls.
Yeah.
And I'm in the back seat because I'm me, and I can't see him, but I'm in the perfect place where I feel like I can have fun needling. I'm like, hey, Paul, what's his last name?
Singletary.
Hey, Paul Singletary. Like, yeah, hey, Paul, we all got kids, buddy. Where's the mittens? I got kids. What, his kids are better than my kids? And they're trying. Hold on, can I got to get a shot.
They're not going to believe it.
And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. No one's going to believe. Hey, guys, I met Kelce. He's wearing a Santa outfit. and sure you did.
It's 1:00 in the afternoon.
And we're on the absolutely abandoned streets of Green Bay, Wisconsin. And here's Paul Singletary with his mullet and his Malibu and the mittens that he's got. He just wings him at Kelce. And then he's like, all right, hold on, got to get the shot. And then he's got like a who knows what flip phone.
The quote was, this phone fucking sucks, but if you just keep hitting the button, it'll take a picture.
And Kelce couldn't be kinder.
Oh, God.
He's got the patience.
He wanted him to come with us.
Right. I mean, honestly, the skit would have been better if Paul.
Oh, God.
We wouldn't have been able to explain it to anybody but us.
No.
But holy smokes, wherever you are, Paul, you are a real one, buddy.
Yes.
And he literally, the technology here is not great. And
just keep hitting the button.
Keep hitting the button. And meanwhile, we're like, yeah, at some point we're going to got to keep on keeping on, bud.
Yeah.
That guy was an absolute legend.
Treat.
He truly was. Great scenes, great vibes, good fun. Thanks to all the people. Thanks to all the fans. Game starts.
Thanks to our crew.
Oh, yeah.
Working
their butts off. The Saints weren't equipped last night to compete. They're no running back. They have them, but wide receiver 1, QB 1, wide receiver 1. They're not on the got shut out, first shutout of the year. That Green Bay team feels like on the defensive side of the ball, and take last night out of it, just they take the ball away. They're a top 10 scoring defense. They're getting healthier. They still don't have everybody that they will have. And the way they use Jacobs, where it feels like it's just where you normally would see things diminish or not fresh legs, you're kind of just trying to grind to the finish line. It feels like they're ascending. Mm-hmm. And he is just punishing team after team after team. I think they could absolutely win the Super Bowl.
I don't need him to go and win the Super Bowl. I just need him to get there. Before the Seattle game, it was 6-1. I like that they have every style.
Nibble?
Oh yeah, good nibble. I like they show they could win everywhere. You keep bringing up the Seattle game. We were there at work Sunday night watching that one. Give the ball to Jacobs. They go down. They go up 7-0, and that set the tone. And that's where you guys start getting these weathers. I know there's a bunch of dome teams atop and ahead of them, but they could go anywhere and win. In the Detroit game, they showed me enough. I know Love turned the ball over. Campbell does his fourth down thing. But everybody talks about the youth. But the good thing about that youth, and I think it's because the quarterback is young, they don't fear anyone. And they got a bell cow that's going to bruise you up. And the defense just keeps making plays. And they don't have two of their best guys on defense.
Right.
And Quay Walker and Jai. So, monster game at Minnesota.
Enormous. And Minnesota's been the most slept on of anybody, and they've got 13 wins. Massive fan of their coach and the way he carries himself and the way he believed in Darnold before any of this happened. Had the conversation with Tim Hasselbeck Sunday. I think for a while we were kind of looking at it like they can win with Sam Darnold. That win against Seattle last Sunday felt like they won because of Sam Darnold. Mm-hmm. He had to make plays down 24-20, hit Jefferson, who had another enormous day, to win. And all they do is win games, and they could be the one. Minnesota could be the one. They have Detroit the last week in Detroit. And so Green Bay's not in the mix for that. That feels like it's probably that's a Minnesota-Detroit discussion, mm-hmm. most likely. 5, 6, and 7 is where the likely spots for what Green Bay will be. So you don't love that. But you made a great point when we were coming home last night that going to Detroit, they lost, but they didn't blink.
No.
They didn't lose like a non-competitive game. I think they're realizing in Jacobs, and I made this point repeatedly, both at halftime and with Joe and Troy when the game was over. We talked so much about Saquon with Philly and Derrick Henry with Baltimore and how new guys in new cities, man, they've had a big impact. Jacobs' impact with Green Bay Packers is every bit as significant. Saquon's changed Philly, yes, but they were something more before. I think what Green Bay is a significant upgrade in the same kind of a way. and just hasn't been mentioned nearly the same.
Mm-hmm.
Well, got to pay attention to that. Got to pay attention to that Green Bay defense. They're really, really good. Huge game with Minnie coming, and then that last game with Minnesota Detroit likely decides it. Do you like one more than another of those three?
I like the versatility. Green Bay knows they have to go on the road. The other two teams, I'm not sure. I look at the Lions showed me a lot. I know it was Chicago, but just not even blinking, jumping out to a lead. You saw more usage with Gibbs. I get it. It's not a bad thing. Obviously, you want all your options. But then you see the deep ball, the JMO, like they still have options on offense.
You're going to have to outscore them in the like obviously any game you have to outscore the opponent, but if you're playing them there, you're going to have to be able to do what Buffalo did. Like you're going to have to score in the 30s, maybe 40s to beat them. You're not going up there and scoring 24 and winning a playoff game. You're just not. So who's built that way? That's the concern I would have with Green Bay. Can they win a shootout on the road?
Yes, but I like the capability of their defense.
Okay.
And I think you go on the road, there's immense pressure on Darnold, knowing the injuries they've had on the offensive line, and obviously Goff has his offensive line intact, and injuries more so
defense
seemingly effectively are on the defense. So it's a weird tier. Any of those three can win it, obviously, with Philly, and that's it, right?
I think so. I mean, look, the Rams couldn't be a bigger fan of Stafford. So much appreciation and admiration for that guy. They just tried to hang on for dear life early in the year with Cooper, Kupp, and Puka Nacua hurt. A bunch of injuries on the O-line. And, I mean, they benefited because nobody in their division did what Detroit did. So it was still in play. But they've been really, really good in the middle and the last half of the season. But, I mean, is Washington likely to be – like right now they'd have to go to Philly. You know, it was cool that they won. Jaden's not afraid. Hurts got injured. That's context. But Hurts doesn't play defense. And Washington scored 36 against a defense that had been awfully buttoned up before that game.
I still can't believe Devontae dropped that ball. I've never seen him drop a pass like that.
First drop this season. And the point I made last night on Countdown is he kind of dropped it twice. He had the shot up top, and then it bounced where it was just hanging right in front of him. And when it hits the ground, it opens the door for Daniels. And Washington will have a chance because of that cat.
Heck yeah.
But they'll be an underdog when they go on the road. We understand that. The top half of both
pretty darn capable.
I agree. Well, because they can score. And their defense is going to probably require that they score a decent amount of points.
Played a great second half.
They certainly did. The top halves of both of them, there's heavyweights on the tops of both. I'm looking at the back end in the AFC, and I'm saying, all right, well, Denver has a chance to clinch if they beat Cincinnati this week. The Chargers are in if they beat the Patriots. And on the back end of it, it's just Kansas City's Kansas City, where they've got a chance to win 3 in a row. They're getting healthier. You get Hollywood Brown back, you're like, oh, yeah, that's a nice little guy to deploy, another weapon to add to the mix. Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Baltimore. Pittsburgh's dropped a couple. I made that point on SportsCenter. You know, they played Philly, Baltimore, Kansas City, and then maybe the Zombie Bengals in the last game. You almost begin your playoffs before the playoffs, kind of like Minnesota. Minnesota had to go to Seattle on the road, then they got to host Green Bay, then they got to go to Detroit. It's almost like your playoffs begin a month before the season even ends. But Pittsburgh, it's a lot that they're kind of trying to handle here, and the fact that both Pittsburgh, not both, 4, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Houston, and Baltimore. Is that those are the teams that is that the Christmas Day games?
The same 4. It's
right. The 4 that played the
Pittsburgh,
Saturday games.
Kansas City, and
Houston, Baltimore. Those are Christmas Day games
on Netflix.
It's gluttonous behavior from the National Football League. The reward for being these good teams is they get to play 3 games in 11 days. That is an outrageous ask of your players. I mean, it's just it's a really, really significant ask of these guys. And I always knew the NFL was going to try to get as many Christmas windows as they could, but I always figured that this was a bridge too far. And they're not going to play on Wednesday. Hold my beer. I just think it's unnecessarily greedy for the NFL to do, and it can do anything it wants. Everyone's going to watch, providing that the streaming service works. Boy, I can't imagine. Christmas Eve, the people out there that won't be able to sleep tonight are little kids and Netflix engineers hoping to God that their streaming service works, because they had that fight, right, that didn't go so good. You guys better have your technology sorted, because if people on Christmas Day can't watch NFL games, buddy, they are not going to be in a cheerful mood. But I just think that asking any teams to play 3-11 is just counterproductive, and asking good teams to have to do it. I don't know how you talk player safety and then say, no, this is what we're going to do. But, I mean, here they go.
Yeah.
And they're good, and they're going to be playoff teams. That's what they got to do. Play this. It's just a lot, man. A whole lot. How many teams in the AFC do you entertain at this point? Is Baltimore on the list?
Yeah.
Okay. Buffalo, Kansas City, Baltimore. Is Pittsburgh?
Yep.
They got Pickens back, theoretically. Been battling a hamstring. Houston, for me, is just not. I don't think they can do it.
Yeah.
Their O-line issues have been significant all year. Losing Tank Dell was just, God love you, that was awful.
It's hard, though, because, again, there's a team right there in Arrowhead. You know?
Yeah.
And, like, that's what we use as a measuring stick, and every team has done the same thing.
Been close.
Yeah. You know? It's
but you don't beat them. You don't beat them.
Your Bengals.
I want them to make the playoffs so badly. They're not gonna. I mean, look.
You know what they need?
They need a lot.
Not really.
Well, they have to beat Denver.
Yeah.
But their key thing is they need Indianapolis to lose a game, and
Miami.
And Miami, both.
And you know who they're playing?
Who?
Pooptown.
Correct.
On the road.
Oh, road Pooptown's an entirely different ask.
Giants at home, not really.
Not actively trying.
I just looked at Cleveland's hosting the Dolphins. You know what the weather is? 53 degrees right now in Cleveland.
So we don't get to apply the tour.
No.
There's a weird warm front, Steve. But then let me tell you, buddy, the pattern on the back is about to change. My least favorite thing in the world, the weather people on Twitter that send out the snow maps for 2 weeks from now. And they're like, whoa, look at the GFS and the Euro. Cool. You know what you should do? If you root for a team, you know what that's like? That's like if you root for a team and you write down a final score that shows them winning the Super Bowl and then tweet it out. Go, look, Baltimore won the Super Bowl. Here it is. Okay, fine. It's going to snow a foot in a week and a half. God, it drives me crazy. Mostly because I want it to happen and it won't. But you're going to put out your snow map for 10 days from now. It's warm for the moment, but there's patterns. Going to get a negative NAO, Steve. You don't know what that means.
Sweet.
You just came out of those days of the. I'm amazed that Columbus of the three, South Bend,
not even close.
South Bend, Columbus,
last
Green
night
Bay.
Was like tropical.
Buddy, let me tell you, sitting there for 200 hours and I couldn't have my gloves on. See,
I've told you this.
Hand warmers.
Yes, there's a million of them in the compound.
Steve,
you know what else there is?
I'm stubborn, Steve.
There's heated gloves you could wear in breaks.
I put my gloves on during the breaks.
I understand that. But what you do is you put the heated gloves on in the breaks, then have the hand warmers.
I'm old and feeble.
But you sound old and not smart.
Oh, old, feeble, and dumb. It's a bad combo, baby.
There's remedies.
All right, that's a good point. Like,
all right?
Like the Black Crows. I need a remedy.
There you go.
I have a message to people that are complaining about the red zone. Apparently, it's 7 hours of commercial-free football starts now.
He didn't say it.
That's right. Now it's just 7 hours of red zone football.
Mm.
And boy, are people pissed. We're going to sue. Who? Why? It's just, you know what? Is your life impacted if once every couple hours there's an ad for beer or a whatever, insurance, a truck? I don't, and I'll get mad about stuff that's worth getting mad about, but people are outraged, and I just don't see how it's a big deal. Is it a big deal?
I don't watch it, so it's not a big deal to me.
I have become a huge fan of the 4 screens, and I'll have it on in one because when you have a window where there's like 8 games, you're not going to be able to see them all. So the red zone, and if that's up there and it hits a commercial, I don't know. I just don't think on the list of things it's worth being actually angry. Maybe you're internet angry, which is more performative. It's not really, you're not really mad. You just want to bitch, and this is where this is the
There's people like that?
Well, that's kind of the funnel for those that want to bitch about everything. I don't know. I just don't. I'm going to have Scott, I'm going to have you on anyway. The guy put out like an apology video. I'm like, who are you apologizing to and for what? I don't think that, I just didn't think he had to do it. But people, you get upset. It is Christmas. I don't want to give out lumps of coal, but can I give you the teams in Pooptown, Steve?
Absolutely. I feel like we're losing them.
You're right, we are. Carolina's been out of Pooptown. They moved out.
Okay.
When you leave Pooptown,
good for them, by the way. That was as bleak a story as there was.
Bryce Young stayed in the fight. You know what? Be like BC. When you leave Pooptown, though, be like BC when they leave your locker room. There's a thing earlier this year. BC went to Virginia Tech. The Virginia Tech equipment folks sent out a picture of the locker room. When BC left, immaculate. When you move out of Pooptown, don't leave your big gulp cups full of dip spit, your Cheeto bags, right? Clean up after yourself. Just you want to leave the right way. Carolina, salute. They knocked Arizona out of the playoffs. Arizona could end up in Pooptown. Or not.
No.
I'm just saying. If the wheels fall off.
Easy.
I'm just all
easy.
Right.
You still have 3 teams with 3 and 4 wins.
New England.
Pooptown.
They fought in
Thanks for the cover.
They fought in Buffalo, but they're in there. New York Jets.
Pooptown.
I think we understand. Cleveland Browns.
Pooptown.
I gave you a chance when it was Jameis out there and you all were fighting. Kind of tough at the moment. Jacksonville. My God.
Pooptown.
You lost to the Raiders, who stay in Pooptown.
Because of the rule.
Pardon? You can't get out by beating
Right.
one. And then and this is where, is it you and I that argue about you should try to lose? Because I do admire the teams that continue to play and be professional. There is that question, though, when winning is actually a net negative if it impacts who you might be able to get. But that was a happy bunch when they beat Jacksonville. But Vegas, you can't escape by just beating them. Tennessee.
Pooptown.
They played Jacksonville this week.
Whew. Happy holidays.
What's that line?
Is that this Sunday?
Tennessee -1 at Jacksonville.
My family's going to that game.
What?
I said it. Take it up with the wife.
Hold on. You said my family is going to that game.
Correct.
You are not.
I'm back here working, buddy.
When you're coming back.
Before that game. Not going to be able to do it.
Oh, man.
Hey.
Wow.
Merry Christmas.
Oh.
I got 2 tickets to Pooptown. Jacksonville, Tennessee.
Pooptown.
And they played a 10-6 game in Tennessee that was just a calamity.
You know what? For the kids' sake,
Yep.
I'm really happy
Well,
because they might get to see the Jags win.
they stood. Well, hey, sorry, kids, you're still in Pooptown.
Yeah.
You can't get out by beating Pooptown. What's Paul's last name?
Singletary.
I want Paul Singletary to go to that game. Paul, where are you? I want to get you a new phone and get you tickets to Jacksonville, Tennessee. Chicago Bears are in Pooptown.
Pooptown.
Took him, Steve, a month, but he broke down. Buddy, the New Orleans Saints.
Pooptown.
Yikes. I mean, 0. Got shut out. That's one of those things in retrospect where you think sometimes it's just you don't have to squint so hard to see what's obvious.
No,
It's
you're watching.
It's freezing cold. Your quarterback, your wide receiver, and most importantly, Alvin Kamara, who's the one guy that's a giant difference maker. You don't have him. You have zero chance. And then I'm saying the mayors of Pooptown are the New York Giants.
Pooptown.
Agreed.
Are they going to keep Daboll?
I don't know.
Do they want Shadur or do they want Cam Ward? You like Shadur.
I do, but I don't know about that situation. I'd rather have a veteran. Trade down or take Travis Hunter.
Is Kirk Cousins a starter in the National Football League next year?
Oh, yeah.
Somehow Cousins is going to you're going to hear he signs for like $70 million or something. In the history of finessing the money situation, he has never not gotten the bag, multiple. I can't figure out what happened there. Because I thought it was interesting the way the language that Orlovsky was using. And I'm not saying he was trying to be coy or speak in riddles, but he was saying, I asked Cousins why he's been struggling. He wasn't able to explain it or articulate it. And I'm thinking, I don't know, the wheels just fell off for him because there were times earlier this year, and particularly in both games against Tampa Bay, where he looked really good. And I'm like, you're an indoor team. He's a veteran. I mean, he was bad.
I watched him warm up when we were in Philly, and
that was week 2.
It took a while, and the release looked a lot longer.
Interesting.
But then you come out in that environment, you need a 2-minute touchdown, and he looked as comfortable as there was. And you talk to quarterbacks how much they love it. It's the number one thing they practice the most, this and that. And then I just think over time, it's caught up. I wonder if it's an age thing, because when you look at him and what he's gone through, there's a lot to you have to speed up the process.
Both him and Aaron, 2 older dudes coming off Achilles, and I mean, Rodgers hadn't looked right this year either at any point.
No, but Aaron has more natural ability where he could throw off schedule. He has different releases. Kirk really doesn't.
That's interesting.
And the mobility thing is a factor. I mean, you've seen him just cave in pockets and get to the next play. But the decision-making, like I go back to the Denver game, it was, maybe it was a little colder than normal. I just think that stuff adds up. And now when you put a sense of urgency where you're trying to make the playoffs, I thought Penix looked great. I know it's the Giants, but I can't wait for that game. That was Sunday night. That's some good. I just love it because it's fresh faces and new blood.
It's so true.
I can't wait to see it. I'm so Collinsworth and Tirico must be pumped to have that opportunity.
And you make a great point. It is a complete, even in the body of this season, it's a completely brand new storyline because Atlanta was in second place in the South prior to that game. That combined with the Tampa loss in Dallas. Salute to the Cowboys who played hard. They've won 4 or 5. That was a wild game. you're NBC, you're Tirico and Collinsworth, who are excellent together, and you get a guy in his second start who's a rookie against the presumptive rookie of the year in Jaden Daniels, and it's a playoff game. It is a playoff game. Atlanta cannot give the Tampa Bay Buccaneers
more mulligans.
You can't give them an opening because they play at home against Carolina and the Saints. Washington needs it for the playoffs. You don't want to go to Dallas having to win against a team that already beat you and
in your crib
and is still playing. So those two rookies going head-to-head, and I just think what is most curious to me, and I have no idea what the answer is, I'm not even going to hazard a guess. You start Penix at home against an awful team, the Mayors of Pooptown.
Mm-hmm.
You get 2 defensive scores. He didn't have to he made some good third down throws. Raheem Morris, huge praise for him, and I understand why. But he didn't have to win the game. He just had to. I hate game manager. It was a perfect opportunity. Like the bunny slope, right? Well, now you're on the road against a team that's in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're on a black diamond, right? You went from the bunny slope to the top of the mountain in 1 week. So to find out where he's at will be a very, very telling kind of result.
Yeah, I'm sure Tirico will have it. I'm actually going to text him. I would love for Cap to get it for us. Maybe we could do some homework for Tirico so he doesn't have to do it during the holiday week. The last time 2 rookie quarterbacks played with this many college starts. Think about that.
That's interesting.
I mean, we've gone through so many of these rookie quarterbacks that, played 10 games in college, 12, 13. These guys, I want to say, played 40 plus.
And the thing about both of them, they are the quintessential mid-2020s quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Both started one place, Arizona State to LSU, Penix, Indiana to Washington. Penix had health issues and concerns, which were part of the reason why there was some fear about how he would project at the next level. Atlanta clearly didn't have it. They took him 8th. But that is a layer to this that feels new, right? Guys that started significant numbers of games for teams, then went to another place, then both ended up having giant college success. One wins a Heisman, the other makes it to the national championship game. That is a fun. I mean, look, I think Tirico's as good as there is. He doesn't miss anything, so I'm sure they'll be all over that layer. But that's one of the huge games this week, Green Bay and Minnesota, Atlanta and Washington, gigantic. And
Got to set my calendar. Oscar, can you scroll up? I want to make sure. Is that Jacksonville game at 1? Yeah, I want to watch that one. That's on one of the screens.
The Paul
Singletary.
I can't remember. I keep
just think of Mike Singletary.
Paul Singletary. I wish people saw him.
Bears still suck was a chant that the Packers fans loved last night.
They're an interesting bunch. People come in their hunting gear. They come in overalls. A lot of Grinches, a lot of Santas.
No shirt.
A lot of that. Hey, to my guy Size in the front row late last night, you, sir, are a treasure. My man was
You didn't get his name?
Nah, dude. I went over and I gave him a fist pump, and then we hugged. Then
how's that?
Warmer. Keep hugging me, big boy. Help me out. All right. God only knows what's going on inside.
They're fine.
Okay. And what else you got?
I don't know. I told you, we got on the plane last night. I'm like, I can't believe it's Christmas. It feels like 3 weeks ago I was in Ireland starting the game day season, and
how'd that Florida State season turn out? You guys came over the other side of the Atlantic, all hostile, ready to fight us. What'd you guys finish? What was it, 2-10? Wow. Does fly by in a blink.
Yeah. The bowl game, Coach Hammond at NIU yesterday.
Best dump of his life.
Oh, my God. I can't believe he said
Language.
that. Can't believe he said that.
Oh, I know. You won the Potato Bowl. You're in a transformative state. That's it.
Yeah.
I have serious things and not a bummer thing, but it's just I always get super reflective this time of year.
Me too.
Do you?
Yeah.
It's a lot, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot. And this last month's been hard, man. One night I mentioned here on the start of the pod that when I'd always say let's go to Bentley's, this guy John Brown,
Yep.
and John passed away, and we had his funeral a few weeks ago. And then the very next week, I'm at a funeral for a dear friend, my guy Jimmy Patsos, who everybody in college basketball knows. His wife Michelle passed away way too soon, and that was heavy. And then there's a gentleman in our from this neck of the woods named Jim Graham, whose funeral I was at last week, who was an absolute gem of a human being, an incredible gentleman, a man I admire, a man I look at and I think I'd love to be like that. I'd love to be that kind of guy. And then we just lost a colleague. Zach passed away, a researcher, and we talked about that last night, and I think about his family, and it's like I've talked about it. You and I are in the same boat, man. We've lost people, our family, and it's a time of year when, you know, like I'm going to take my kids probably at some point to they didn't get to meet my dad. Yours didn't either. And I just spend time thinking about people that we've lost. You miss them more around this time of the year, but we're both of us so amazingly blessed to have the people we've got, our little kids who hopefully aren't destroying the basement, but incredibly supportive families. I don't take lightly this bond, what you and I get to do, and how hard you're willing to work to be part of this little thing, sitting here doing what we do. And I just feel so much gratitude, and I think about the people that might not have what we have, you know what I'm saying, that aren't surrounded with the kind of love that we've got. And if you're out there and you know, and you're feeling that, I send whatever I can, which is just some positive vibes and some love, because it ain't easy if you're feeling that way, especially this time of the year. So we're both blessed to be able to have that, which you really, really, really appreciate even more. It's a lot bouncing around. You do it even more than I do. But like just coming home last night, that drive, and it doesn't take a lot to make me emotional, but I just found myself getting emotional. It's really cool. We're going home, and it's Christmas time. And so, as I say, just been surrounded by a lot of loss, and I grieve for those folks that are going to go through what it is. And now I really am going to get emotional. Shout to our girl Maddie that we work with.
Yeah.
Surrounded by all this, all these things that make me sad, and people that I feel for. And then here comes a new guy. And somebody that's really, really important to us. I assume I'm allowed to my breaking news here. She had her little baby, and it's like, you know, it's a Christmas baby and all, and it's that's the good stuff, you know. So I don't know, man. I'm just kind of rambling here, but I get super reflective, and I'm grateful for what we get to do here. I'm grateful for the people out there that make time for us to listen to us ramble about nonsense. You know, even our friends that say that the pod sucks when it's only me. You're right. It's fine. It's fair. But
compliment doesn't hurt once in a while too, guys.
No, those guys are nice. They're nice, but
those compliments are hard to come by. I'll tell you.
They're stingy. They're Grinches. But you know, yeah, sprinkle them under the tree. A little, hey, not for nothing. We enjoy what you guys do.
You know, text on the side, maybe. You know,
right? You could start a new thread. Hey, I really found like it was a good start to the pod. Really liked when I liked that Groban one you did where Steve wasn't there. That was a good one. Maybe, and if you didn't like it,
the note cards sound organized today.
Yeah, I spilled stuff on it. I spilled soda. I spilled soda on the Pooptown.
Your 9 a.m. Diet Coke.
You got to start the day. You got to start the day. I thought yesterday, honestly, about the number, and it's becoming worse. It's a problem that's getting worse. I need to button things up.
Tighten it up.
I mean, double digits of the bottles is a
Figure it out.
I can't. All right, I think Red's here saying it's time to shut it down. Scott,
Yeah.
stop rambling. Stop getting sentimental. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. I don't know when we're doing another one. I assume it's... When are we going to do another one? Because you're going to the Rose Bowl
Yeah.
soon-ish. When we need to address the college football situation in the playoffs, there'll be more.
Yeah.
Someone knows. I don't. It's a poor way to let this... That's a teaser. Keep your eyes on the feed.
Is Winners coming back?
I don't know. I didn't do it last week.
Yeah, you would have had all winners.
Would I?
No, you would have went over. You would have had every dog.
January 2nd.
Oh, we are.
There you go. No, I would have had Ohio State. I liked Ohio State.
Okay.
Sorry, Jack.
Or you did.
Thanks for bringing the cookies.
Happy holidays, buddy.
Merry Christmas. Sorry I got emotional. That's
Totally fine.
That's what I do.
It's normal. You're human.
Thank you. Happy holidays.